Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. So good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 109th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We review the first new regular production RA cigar in decades. We discuss the 2024 Habanos Festival. We answer a listener email about proper conditions for cigar storage. And Pagoda finally has a rover, all among a variety of other things for the next 90 minutes. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair 12-year age Bunnahabhain single malt scotch with the Ramón Allones number 3. A brand new release from Ramón Allones tonight on the pod. It's called the Allones number 3. It's a Robusto Extra. The factory name is a Noblezas, which is a new Vitola for Cuba, aside from an EL. We can talk about that. It's a 52 ring gauge cigar by 5 3/8 inches. And boys, I'm very excited to smoke this cigar tonight.
Well, honestly, it does not look like its younger brother, the Ras.
It does not.
This is a much prettier cigar. The wrapper is much nicer. Smooth, pretty pristine wrapper. It's still a little rustic, but not like the Ras.
Yeah, it's a good looking cigar. I
Very
was very
nice.
excited when I got them.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, this is the third new release of cigars from Habanos we've done fairly recently. And I think that they're really trying to make a great first impression when they do these first run of cigars.
We love this marca. So
And, for Ramon to have one is really great.
it's tremendous.
I don't know. I feel differently. I'm sorry.
Really?
To me, this looks just like a Ras. The wrapper has tons of visible veins. I mean, tons.
You must have a bad
And
one.
it's super rustic, just like a Ras.
Mine is smooth as silk.
I thought it
Pagoda
was a
got his-
Ras.
He thought it was a Ras.
Well, he's Pagoda.
Hey, listen,
I
listen.
mean, hold on. I have to show Giz this. Just look at this.
Oh, yeah, yours is a little bit more beat up than mine.
Yeah, mine's pretty nice.
Senator just did show and tell for the listener.
Yeah.
It does resemble a Ras.
A bit.
A bit.
The Vitol is different, but
Just
I think
big,
it's...
big brother of Ras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, boys, let's cut this thing. See
It's
what we
about
got on
half
the
an
call.
inch long.
Cold
I don't
draw on
know
the
what-
wrapper.
I don't know what the secret is there.
It's called wrapper analysis, Pagoda.
All right, fair enough.
Mm. Oh, yeah. I'm excited. That is great on the cold draw.
Oh, wow.
My draw is wide open,
Mine too.
which,
Pretty-
of course, you expect in a cigar this size.
I'm getting a lot of
Look
dried
at
fruit.
that. I've even got a little dimple.
You got a dimple. So these were made at the Partagas factory. Like I said, this is a brand new release. They just came to market in April. This is Partagas Factory UBL, March 23. So another youngin' on the pod tonight.
I love the cold draw.
I
Me too.
agree.
A little
Mhm.
earthy,
Dry fruit.
classic Ramón Allones
Yeah.
flavor profile on the cold draw.
I got a dimple too.
Mm-hmm.
Partagas Factory.
Good start.
Very
Very good
exciting.
start.
They know how to roll.
All right, boys, let's light this thing. The Ramón Allones number 3. Again, it's a 52 ring gauge cigar by 5 3/8 inches long.
Somebody's welding steel in the room.
I might have to borrow your lighter again today, man. I'm not. But yeah.
Okay. To all the listeners, always come prepared.
I came in an hour and 15 minutes late today.
We'll always wait for you, Pagoda.
Oh, thank you so
Of
much.
course.
It's good on the light, boys.
Yeah, I haven't had it yet.
Wow.
Wow.
Very
Thanks,
good
man.
on the light. I'm shocked.
This cigar is not even a year old. Closer to 6 months, really.
Oh, wow. That's very good.
This is sweeter than a Ras.
Oh, yes, it is.
It is.
Oh, this is very impressive.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is probably the third or the fourth cigar that we have done that's like new, you
Yep.
know, and they've all been home runs.
Yeah. So far, it's a home
We
run.
did the Turquinos, we did the RG
Coronas de
Coronas de
Lonsdale.
That's right.
Lonsdales.
Yep.
This one, and there was another one, right? Oh,
It was the
Val-
Turquinos, the Rafael Gonzalez, Coronas de Lonsdales, and this one are really the new ones
Right.
that were recently released. And this is, again, like those other two that we did. This is the first run of these cigars. So they came up when Habanos put these out in April, they came up, they flooded the market, and within a few weeks they were gone. Very similar to the Turquinos. So, it's something I'm assuming they're testing the market, they're testing the reaction. They're probably rolling more. The Turquinos is now having a second wave.
This is true.
So hopefully this will be in the next few months. People will be able to get their hands on these.
What factory? Do we know?
Partagas factory.
Oh,
yeah,
very
UBL.
nice. Excellent.
So I did bring the box tonight, boys, because I wanted to show you this. We actually mentioned this a few episodes ago. I was talking about the health warning stickers on a box that I got covering the entire back.
Yeah, I think that's it.
This is the one.
Does it say you'll grow a third eye?
On the front, there is a fetus, picture of a fetus.
God.
And the back, I literally had to take a razor to cut out the sticker to try to find a box code.
So who puts that on there?
The Mexican government. On import, the Mexican distributor is required to put these on. So these came from Mexico. And I mean, it's terribly unfortunate that they do this to a box of cigars.
Sure. If it conceals the date and box code, that's not good.
Yeah.
Give it another 10 years, and can you imagine in America what the boxes are going to be covered in at the rate we're going?
Parchment paper, fully wrapped.
So like I said, the factory name of this cigar is a Noblezas. It's the first time this specific size, has been used in a regular production Cuban cigar. The only other time that it's ever appeared was on the Partagas EL. It's called the number 1 from 2017. Again, it's 52 ring gauge by 5 3/8 inches, very close to the Monte Cristo Edmundo, which is 3 millimeters shorter. So really, if you want to compare this to a cigar in size,
That's the one.
it's Monte Cristo Edmundo. That's what we're holding in our hand, with a difference of 3 millimeters. So
What's funny to me is how inaccurate Cuba is with everything they do. How do they get to within 3 millimeters and call this a different vitola? Right?
it's a good question.
It's strange.
And I think they're always just trying to come up with fresh stuff. And
Mhm.
hey, this is a new size, new
Mm.
release in a market that hasn't been served a new regular production cigar in like decades.
Right.
For many, many years, Habanos cut Ramón down to only 3 cigars. So it's nice that they're coming back around and giving some of these marcas
Well, this
You
is
know, new
definitely
sizes
a
again.
celebrated market.
I'm hoping after a few more trips we take down there that there's a new vitola called the Lagarto.
I'd love if it was a Ramón.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
So, boys, this is great on the light.
Yeah.
Really, really
This
nice.
is a 52
yeah,
ring
52.
gauge?
Yeah,
What's an E2? 58?
54.
54.
Mm-hmm.
A little longer.
Mm-hmm. A little fatter, a little longer. But it's nice. It feels good in the hand. It's not densely packed. And I think that, again, we're talking about these young cigars and these blending decisions. We talked about that on the Turquinos episode. We talked about that on the Rafael Gonzalez Coronas de Lonsdale episode. And here we are again with a cigar that's 7 months old, maybe.
Mhm.
Smoking great.
Yeah.
On the light.
It's impressive.
I'll tell you, it's a Chinese commitment to quality. Well, we've got to say something positive at least. We've got to say something positive. I don't know whether there's an influence or not, but hey.
All right, thanks, Bigoda. Apparently we're smoking counterfeits now.
Don't say that out loud.
So we've done quite a run of Ramón Allones cigars on this podcast. And, just because we love them, and I just think, we think that they smoke really well. Aside from one that did not perform very well. We'll talk about that later. But some of the other cigars we've done on the pod are the Specially Selected, which is a celebrated cigar in this group. We did the Superioris, which is an LCDH exclusive. We did the Small Club Corona.
Delicious little cigar.
Yeah, that was really
Oh.
nice. We did that on a short smoke special.
We did.
And the other one that we did that was one of the highlights of this year was the Edición Limitada from 2019, the number 2 on episode 76, which got a 10.0. That's
Yeah.
one of the best cigars we've smoked,
Incredible.
which is a little pyramid.
How much are these?
This was for this box of 10 that I was just holding, comes in a dress box, nothing fancy. Certainly covered in these stickers. It's not fancy, but classic green Ramón. This box of 10 was $315.
Okay. 31 bucks.
$31.50 a cigar.
That's not cheap.
Mm-mm. But given some of the other new releases and how they've been priced, it's nice that the Turquinos, that Rafael we did and this are
Yeah.
accessibly priced.
And the Vitola kind of commands that number, maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully it gives us a good night tonight. So we have done some history on Ramón. I'll just go through it again briefly. The cool thing about the brand is that there's a argument about when it was started. Habanos SA says the year is 1837, but the official documents that have been found in Havana show the marca as first being registered in 1845, which is wild. The factory for the brand was constructed between 1859 and 1873.
Unbelievable.
And you think about how much history
That's incredible.
Ramón Allones has. So the brand, it's had several owners over the years. It was owned by UK importer Hunters and Francow, which, if you think about some of the boxes that we've got in the past, they're still the distributor. H&F boxes, they have a little sticker. It's another kind of endorsement of quality on those boxes that you get. And then the brand was purchased by the Partagas factory after that. And in the 1920s, Ramón was a huge, huge brand, especially in the UK, obviously, because Hunters was importing it and had a lot of success. In the 1970s, 1980s, it started to be discontinued. Lived a good life in the 1990s, and then it really went through a cut down like a lot of the other marcas in that kind of range in the 2000s, 2010s. It's classified as a value brand in the portfolio, and it only has a few cigars in regular production, which we'll go through. But we love this marca.
Can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
Similar to
Love Ras.
Bolivar, it's a little
Oh, yeah.
brother to
Yeah.
Partagas.
Oh, yeah.
I would put this right in line
Mhm.
with Bolivar, kind of where I view it in the Habanos SA catalog as far as quality and consistency.
And there's not a single person in this room who does not have Ramón Allones in some form,
And who doesn't love it?
who doesn't love it.
Right.
Yeah.
We all have boxes of
50 cabs of Ras,
specially select.
the small club Coronas. Oh, yeah.
So let's go through the current production cigars. There's not many of them. And actually, we've kind of checked almost all the boxes. We have one more after tonight, and we've gone through the entire current production line of Ramón.
Look, I'm a half inch in. It's getting better and better. It is really, really good.
Really nice cigar.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
getting
very happy
savory
with it.
notes now with the backdrop of some fruit. It's really quite nice.
I think it's very much in line with my expectation of a Ramón cigar, the flavor profile, but I think it's a little different.
This is different than the Ras.
I think it's a little
I
different.
agree.
Yeah.
And I think that, we talk about aging potential, and I think we mentioned on the Rafael Gonzalez episode that my sense, I don't know, I don't want to speak for the room, my sense that cigar doesn't have a ton of aging potential, just where it was, whereas this, I think this is a profile, this flavor profile, I think has a lot of potential to age really well. So back to current production cigars real quick. So like I said, we've done a bunch of them. The small club Corona is a petite Corona, 42 ring gauge by 4 3/8 inches. We did that on episode 55. The specially selected, which is a classic Cuban Robusto, certainly in this group, we did on episode 9, which is 100 episodes ago. This is episode 109. We did that 100 episodes ago. That's a Robusto, 50 ring gauge by 4 7/8 inches. The Gigantes, which is a double Corona, 49 ring gauge by 7 5/8 inches, same size as the Partagas Lusitania, the Hoyle double Corona, and some others. The Superioris we talked about, which is the LCDH exclusive, that's a Grand Corona, 46 by 5 5/8 inches. And finally, the Allones number 3, which we're smoking tonight, the Robusto Extra. And that is the current offering from Ramón.
I like the extra.
Yeah.
You like this size?
Yeah, this is nice. And if they never ever expand the marca, I think we'll all still be very happy. Something to be said about quality at a low volume.
Yeah, and I think what we're experiencing is just, it seems like Cuba Tobacco, when they're blending and making these new cigars, they're making good decisions. Finally,
Mhm.
we're 3 for 3. It's hopefully this continues this way, but
Yeah.
seems really strong.
Where are the Ramón cigars primarily rolled? Are they primarily out of the Partagas factory?
That's the mother factory, but like
Yeah.
all cigars,
Like every
I
other
mean,
cigar, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna get Ras from
A provincial and so
tons of provincials,
Yeah.
just like a D4,
That's
like
true.
most Robustos. I would think that the Gigantes, that double Corona, is probably rolled in specific provincial factories.
Very hard to roll.
You know, maybe some at the Partagas factory, like the Lucy, but they're from all over the place.
Mhm.
I mean, I have to say, like, the construction has really been on par.
Yeah.
You know, they've really been good. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely no draw issues, and they've been great, smoking great.
Oh, yeah.
So on the list of cigars that have been discontinued, we won't go through all of them. There's a couple I want to highlight because I just, it's just unfortunate that they're gone. Certainly, number one is a double Robusto called the Gigantes with a 109 head on it, which, the 109 is that rounded head. The
That's right.
Lusitania was actually originally a 109.
That's right.
Then they moved it to a double Corona because it's a little easier to roll a double Corona than a 109. Wish that was still around. And the big one, boys, is the 898. The Ramón Allones 898, discontinued in 2002.
Somebody has those.
Oh, they do. Giss is hiding out on us.
Yeah,
has
who's
those.
holding out?
Somebody has
Look
those.
at those eyes. Look at that smile. Yeah.
This cigar is
Yeah.
delicious.
He is. Look at his face.
Kiss.
Boys, this cigar is really good.
Look at this guy. Oh, my God. Is
The
this
art of
happening?
deflection.
I think there's an accountability hour.
Oh,
in
big
order.
time. I think we need to raid that tower.
Well, what I'll say about it is I do, in fact, have a box of Ramón Allones 898. However,
This is a revelation.
in true lizard fashion,
They were discontinued when? 2002?
2002, I have one from the last year.
21-year-old box.
I have not cracked that box and I've not smoked one. And I plan to do that with you guys at some point. So I've had that in my tower for quite some time. I got them a while ago, but I have not cracked the box.
Nope,
So am
no
I
time
redeemed?
like the present?
You
Am
know
I
what?
redeemed?
I love you.
Sounds like a yes, Bam.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Ramón just has a great history and such a classy brand. I love smoking Ramón,
Oh, yeah. Don't
which
we all?
is why we've done so many on the podcast. I mean, maybe aside from Padron and Partagas, this is probably the market that we've smoked the most of.
Yeah.
What else is discontinued?
Oh, so many, probably 30 or 40. Couple machine-made cigars that came in cellophane,
Don't care about those.
a Corona, Ponatellas.
The 2011 EL.
Yeah, the ELs are gone. They did have an Allones number one that was a Lonsdale, a Dalius, which is the same size as the 898, discontinued in the
Sure, that would
70s.
have been incredible.
Yeah, so many cigars discontinued. And of course, we have to mention, like many of these other portfolio brands, value brands, Ramón is used quite a bit for regional editions. That's a big thing. People collect those. There was actually, this is very cool, there was an exclusive regional edition release for the UK market commissioned by Hunters and Franco of a Ramón Allones Belicosos Finos.
Wow.
Identical size
Really?
to the Bolivar. Yeah, so that was in 2005, came in a dress box of 25 cigars. And what's cool about it is there was no regional band on it. It just was a classic Ramón.
And it's no longer available.
Yeah, it was only available for 1 year as a special release.
Oh, man. You know how valuable those are?
Kids, get on it.
Giz, I'm sure he's got a
We-
box.
we
Got
need
a
those.
box.
I don't think so, boys. They also, they have so many regional editions. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So
We
just
know.
a great brand.
We know their limitadas
Mm.
deliver.
Yeah.
The 2019 we did.
Unlike this cigar that we have in our hand, that cigar needed a lot of time,
It did,
as
Yeah,
we
it did.
recapped.
but it was worth it.
It was definitely worth
It
it.
got a perfect 10.
Perfect 10, which is very rare.
Yeah, it is.
So this cigar was announced in 2021. It was released earlier this year, which of course is classic Habanos MO. And it was the first new cigar in regular production for Ramón in decades, in many, many decades. And it was released April 18th of this year. So hopefully these will come widely available,
Mhm.
and all the lizards out there, instead of yelling at me that they can't find them, will be able to find them soon. Hope.
And seems like the trend is towards bigger ring gauge cigars
Mhm.
that they're rolling.
Even in Cuba,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, look at the worldwide demand that we talked about a
Yeah.
few episodes ago. Bigger cigars are what people are chasing at the stores.
Clearly, our
Also-
Lancero reviews have not had an impact.
No impact at all.
It's a lagging indicator.
It's a lagging.
Grinders with us tonight.
So, boys, flavor profile wise, what are you guys getting? What kind of notes can you call out that you're getting out of this cigar?
I think we called a bunch out earlier, but Senator, what are you thinking?
I'd say dried fruit a little bit.
Oh, I said that
Yeah.
earlier. And for me, a little savory I'm getting.
Yeah. Earthy,
Little
Not-
leather.
leather.
A touch, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I shouldn't say it, but you remember, I think a couple of episodes ago, I was smoking something and I got a flavor of tea. I didn't know I get this
Tea. Yeah,
a little
tea.
bit in the
Yeah.
beginning, only in the
Yeah.
front of the.
I can see
But-
where the tea
but
can
I-
come off as like a dried fruit.
Fruit, yeah.
I'm with you on that, man.
And so I'm like, all right, should I say something or not? But I did
yeah.
get that. I did get that
always
feel
say
again.
something.
No, you know what's really interesting? No, what's interesting is it's because I really like that flavor, so it just becomes so much more enjoyable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Right there
it's
with you.
fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think the thing that's interesting, it's a complex cigar in that there are a lot of different flavors that you get in the cigar, but none are overly pronounced. Like a Ras is a little more aggressive in
Mhm.
flavor. Like you know exactly what's hitting you. Where this, it's funny. I've just been sitting here a little bit perplexed because some of the flavors are not that obvious.
Mm.
The fact that we're talking about, like, is it dried fruit? Is it tea? Is it this savory? Like, how do you even define it? Right? Like it's. They're more subtle. They're there and they're good, but
Yeah.
it's very subtle in the delivery.
Which I love. This is really smooth and very velvety.
I think my lack of calling out specific flavors is, to your point, not a lack of complexity. It's not a lack of the flavors being there. I think I'm finding them to be very unique. I don't think that I've had other cigars that have tasted like this, especially fresh.
Maybe the Turquinos is probably the closest one I'm getting. For me, like that in this, I'm getting like a salt buttery thing with the fruit in the back. That's where I'm getting that savory for me. Maybe I'm going out on a limb, but that's what I'm getting. It's really quite satisfying.
It's very, very
It's
good.
ridiculous, yeah. No rough edges at all.
Yeah.
Nothing bitter here.
for every time I have the Ras, I always say that's a Cubanesque flavor, right? For me, it's the floral, salty. I don't know, very. It's a very specific flavor, and when this seems definitely a bit on the sweeter side when compared to the Ras, and just what I'm experiencing.
What's strange is I feel like the very first few puffs were sweet. And as I've gotten further into this, I feel like the sweetness is dialed down a lot.
it's dissipated
And
down,
now
that's
I
right.
feel like it's more savory, like
Yeah.
Bam's describing. And the strange thing is I'm sitting here, I don't know that I've ever smoked a cigar and thought about food that I would pair this with.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay, so this is funny. And
Yes.
then let's see if we're thinking the same
Savory.
thing.
Yeah.
Savory,
I
baby.
just feel
Not
like
Brussels sprouts, is it?
No.
No, well, but we're going in that
You're
direction.
not that far off.
I just feel like this would pair great with turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
I'm just getting like,
I was
it's
going to
like-
say chestnuts, and you said turkey.
yeah, it's just weird. It just
So then at the
feels like a
Thanksgiving
holiday.
table, he's lighting right up. Mrs. Senator is going to get that frying pan ready in her other hand.
I believe me, I've thought about it.
This turkey's infused with Ramon Allones shavings.
No, he hangs the turkey carcass in the shed and lights a Ramon underneath it.
It's got
That's how you
remote
do it.
DNA.
I was thinking the same thing with food. I feel like I think that savory thing is kind of reminding me of
It's reminding me of stuffing.
Yeah,
and
like
turkey.
food.
It's just weird.
Honestly, a buttered croissant, man, works for me.
and definitely an undertone of leather for me.
A
kind of
touch.
pairing with the savory,
Mhm.
like leather is jumping at me right now. So I wanted to mention this because we were just talking about the Ras Pagoda, mentioned that, and we've been kind of comparing it to that. And certainly, how could it not be in our mind? I mean, we smoke so many of those. This is pretty cool. I got this out of the El Habano Moderno book that Alex Groom put together, and he wrote a note. I took a picture of it. Wrote a note about the Ras, the specially selected, and how, like the origins of Ramon Allones, there is a dispute as to when the Ras originally came out. So in Min Ronnie's book, an illustrated encyclopedia of post-revolution Havana cigars in 2003, he said that those cigars originally came out in 1980. And Simon Chase of Hunters and Francow, as we mentioned, owned, Ramon for a good period of time in the early 1900s, said that he found a box in a UK estate sale dating back to 1968. So it's pretty wild that even a cigar that has been around as long as a Ras has, it's still, there's like a debate as to its origins, which aligns very much with the origins of Ramón Allones, which are Habanos and the records are not on the same page.
It gives it a good mystique as well, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Isn't Ramón Allones the second oldest marca?
I think it might be.
I think
it's
oldest
definitely
is
old.
the Por Laranaga.
It's definitely old. I mean, we were talking what?
I think he's right.
1840
something.
And I think Por Laranaga is like 1830s.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
How's the Retro Hill?
Excellent.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent Retro Hill.
Yeah, really good.
I just accidentally did one, so
Accidentally.
I just accidentally ashed all over the floor.
Accidentally on purpose. What is that? Is that a curb ref? What is that from?
Accidentally.
Accidentally
It might
on
be a
purpose.
curb reference.
I think it's a curb reference.
The spirit's fantastic.
Let's talk about it.
I gotta tell you, it's really going down nicely.
I
With ice.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
I call it Babbenheim.
Baba Ganoush.
Baba Ganoush,
it's-
Babbenheim.
It's the Bunnahabhain.
Bundahabhain.
Bunnahabhain. Elay single malt Scotch whiskey.
The Banaki Bear.
I mean, look at the spelling on that. Bunnahabhain.
Senator's just letting you go off right now.
Hain.
No
I know, he's
insistence
loving
at
it.
all.
How do you pronounce that? Does anybody have an idea?
I think it's Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain. Okay, that makes
Okay,
more sense.
nice.
Bunnahabhain.
Nice.
Buna.
I've never heard of this.
You haven't?
No.
I haven't
And
either.
I like it a lot.
Although actually, from another website, I'm hearing that the BH sounds like a V in Gaelic. Grinder would be very proud here, and he would know how to pronounce this. Bunnahabhain is how they're saying it's pronounced. Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain.
I can picture Grinders correcting all of us.
Oh,
right now.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bunnahabhain.
So this is a funny one because I was visiting a friend of mine who lives in DC, and he's a big Scotch guy. He's been to Scotland before. And when I was over at his place and he offered me some Scotch, he's got a pretty cool collection. I said, I want to try something I haven't had before. And he's one of these guys who he doesn't really pursue as aggressively like the big commercial stuff that a lot of us love, like Macallan, Balvenie, stuff like that. He's all about like these kind of more boutique distilleries. And so there were maybe 3 bottles that I spotted immediately. I was like, I've not had that, that, and that. So I want to try them. And this was one of them. And I was like, the first sip I took had this just like kind of odd aftertaste. And then the more I drank it, I grew to appreciate it. And when you look into their history, and Giz actually sent some, I think, helpful history on the distillery itself, but their style is very unique because they're from Islay, which is known as making some of the peatiest scotches, period. And what my buddy appreciates about it, and I very much see why, like this is their take on, there is some peat, but it is very subtle, very mellow, and does not punch you in your face like Lafroig or some of the other like really peaty scotches. So for our palates that I think don't gravitate toward overly peaty scotch, I thought it was something interesting for us to try.
No, this is great. This is great because,
very nice.
you know, the first sip, you're so right. You do get a little bit of the hint of peatiness.
Without the ice.
And
Even with it, you get a bit.
you
bit.
do. The first sip, definitely.
Okay.
Because every time you'll have a peaty scotch, you get that smokiness or,
Right away.
you know, coming right away. And then as time progresses, it becomes
Dissipates.
smoother and smoother. Yeah. It's great.
And I think too, I want to just say on the peatiness thing, I don't mind a peaty scotch. I don't go as far as I do like Lafroy now, but I don't go super hard into the
No,
peat,
neither do we.
except for when
Freud. Do you mean Lagavulin?
excuse me,
Lagavulin.
Lagavulin, excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I don't go heavily peat, except when I'm not looking for peat, except for when we've talked about this, when I can't pair it with a cigar.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
When you're
Right.
sitting at the table and you're sitting there just craving a cigar and there's chaos going on, that's when you pour
Yeah.
Lagavulin.
That's called the torture chamber. Okay. And you need to release and get the heck out of the house. Honey, I'm going to the garage.
You know, I know there's listeners out there who would vehemently disagree with this, but I just don't think that for my palate that I want something peaty, super peaty pairing with my cigar. I just don't think they complement each other
Yeah.
as much as a cigar that's
You're not wrong.
You know, that's
Yeah,
that's
true.
not carrying as much peat.
But
with
for
it.
us, you're right.
But
Yeah.
don't you think in the wintertime you kind of sometimes crave that?
I do enjoy it
Yeah,
in the winter.
for
You're
sure.
right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For sure. And I think this is like a nice balance where you can enjoy this in the summer because it's so lightly peated,
Mm-hmm.
and also in the winter when you want peat but not a lot of peat. So I just think it's very versatile, which is really nice.
I'm getting a lot of sweetness on it for me personally.
So that there's a reason for that. So a little bit on the history that we'll get into why we're getting some of the notes we are. So Bunnahabhain was established in 1883 by this guy William Robertson and the Greenlees brothers, and it's one of the older distilleries in the Isle of Islay, Scotland. The distillery was intentionally built in a remote and sheltered location on the northeastern coast, and that was meant to provide a milder, less peaty Scotch in Islay,
Interesting.
which is great. It's funny actually. So they were acquired by Highland, which we've done Highland.
We
on-
have,
on-
Yeah,
Highland Park,
we did the
yeah.
18, right?
That was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was
That
good.
That was a good
Or-
scotch.
Oh yeah. 18.
not
I think it was the 18.
It was the 18.
No,
Highland Park, maybe.
no, I
yeah,
thought it was
maybe
It
12.
was the 12. It
I'll
was the
look
12.
while you're talking and I'll
It
come
was
back.
definitely
it
the
could
12
be the
because
12.
I was saying
Yeah.
the most famous expression they make is the 18, and we like the 12, so we should
Right.
do the 18.
That's right. That's right. He's right.
So,
we did do the 12.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
did.
So Highland bought them in 1963, and then they became part of the Edrington Group, which I'm not familiar with.
We've mentioned
Bam's
that
very
name.
familiar with them. Go ahead, Bam.
Oh, sure. Well,
So
we've heard that
Bunnahabhain.
name in this room.
Yeah.
We have. Yeah. When Grinder's been around, of course.
At some point
Yeah.
since we started the podcast, we mentioned that.
So the interesting thing, we mentioned how they're known for their approachable, lightly peated, and even they have unpeated styles of scotch that they make. But the sweet notes we're getting, which is right up our power alley, is
The
that
sherry?
they use sherry casks for
Yeah,
their
makes
maturation
sense.
process.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
There you
very
go.
big on sherry casks.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like just a kind of a perfect pairing of the sherry that we love and some peat for when we're craving some of that. And I think that they've just kind of carved out like as soon as I tasted this for the first time, there's no other scotch I would
Mhm.
compare it to. It's like the one unique marriage of kind of those two worlds.
Right.
There is
in an
one.
interesting
There
way.
is one, which we drink quite often.
Or Belvany, of course.
No.
Oban?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ah.
that's he's exact. That's the only other one. You're
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah.
He's right because Oban does have some peat, and
This is
it
different than
sweet,
the Open, though. I think.
No, it's
but
different.
it is different in
yeah.
profile.
Yeah.
But I'd be proud to bust this bottle out in front of a group and proudly serve it. It's very good. I don't remember what I paid for this. I think
I just looked it up. It's 65 a total wine.
okay.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
Yeah, for a 12-year.
It's actually quite good.
Is Talisker more peaty than this?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
But-
and we did the Talisker 10, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I happen to like that spirit. It's not overly peaty, very drinkable, very nice.
I think the sherry finish, the sweetness that we get here, certainly for a Cuban cigar, is much more in line with what I want to pair
100% right.
than either the Oban or the Talisker or any of those kind of
Yeah.
peaty leaning
I agree.
scotches. I think this is definitely more in line with what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
And I think too, what's helping me flavor wise is that since the cigar is not super sweet as of right this moment, kind of was at the beginning,
It
but
was.
right now it's giving that more savory thing.
Mhm.
And I think getting the sweetness out of the pairing is actually really super complimentary.
What's interesting though, if you retro hail that, what I love about this cigar is the variety of experience you get. So if you retro that thing, I get fruit forward on the retro hail, but the typical draw is very savory. Pretty unique.
Although I love the Oban.
Oh yeah.
The Oban's great. Yeah. So I was looking at, Bunnahabhain offers quite a bit of stuff. The 12-year that we're drinking tonight, the 18-year-old, they offer a 25-year-old, like so many
Wow.
of the other manufacturers do. And then they also offer like the limited editions and
Oh boy.
kind of more rare things. But it's funny, the bottle, the box, they're not eye-catching. I don't ever remember even seeing these in a
Same.
retailer.
Same.
So what prompted you to pick this up? Just kind of on a whim?
No, we just told you.
Senator.
It was on
Oh,
my
I'm
list,
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, forgive me.
His buddy recommended it.
Also,
While he was crawling around the mountainside on his elbows and looking for things that he's never had before.
you don't really see a dark bottle like this.
It's true,
Yeah,
right?
it's-
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost
That's true.
black.
You're
That's
right.
true. You can't actually see the spirit
It's
inside.
true. That's true. It's unique.
And even the outer container that it comes in, it's really not that appealing.
No, it's handsome, basic in its own way.
It's kind of basic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's clear to me they're like a very traditional, like steeped in history type of distillery. This is not like a
Right.
commercial. We
Yeah.
want like the sexiest bottles and labeling and all of that. It's like very understated.
Yeah.
And
I will be buying more of this.
Yeah, this is really good.
And I think it's worth a dive into their other
I'd like to
offerings.
try the 18 for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I'd
I
like to see
would.
how that is.
Yep.
I would.
So one of my favorite things to do, as you guys know, is to read the tasting notes on the back of the container. So I think we should go through this and see if you guys are getting any of these. So the color is russet gold. Russet
that's
gold.
right.
The nose, sweet and fruity with notes of blackcurrant jam, vanilla, cloves, and a hint of seaweed. Bam, you getting the seaweed?
No seaweed.
Okay.
I'm getting pretty deep honey though.
On the palate, rich sherry and roasted nuts, balanced with sweet malt and sultanas. I don't know what that is. A warming spice gives way
I think they're
to
raisins.
velvety caramel
Yeah,
and a
caramel.
subtle
There's
coastal
caramel.
influence. The
Hmm.
finish is long and lingering, rich, full-bodied, with a spray of sea salt. I feel like I'm reading
I
like
think the finish is
50 Shades of
the
Grey,
finish is
like-
reasonably long.
I think it's
yeah.
overstated, but a lot of it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I would say the
Yeah.
majority of the
that one. I
notes
think it
are
might be the
present.
closest
Yeah.
that we've
Yeah.
read so far.
That's true.
Except the seaweed.
The seaweed I don't get.
That's damn good shit, man.
Yeah, it's a really nice pairing with the cigar tonight.
I do think on the nose you get a little seaweed.
Yeah.
Not on the finish at all, but on the nose.
Bam, note that senators endorsing the
Done.
seaweed.
Lizard memo is open.
Yeah, this is a really, really nice cigar.
Yeah.
And a really good scotch.
Oh yeah, great pairing tonight.
Yeah.
And the other thing,
excellent
just
pairing
a
tonight.
credit to this distillery. I mean, if you think about how many random scotches that we've picked up that we have not tried, that we've wanted to on this pod, none of them are particularly unique in flavor profile at all.
Mhm.
It's like trying to be something that we love and it's just not doing it as well. And this is one of the first that I'm like thrilled is not trying to be anything else
Agreed.
other than what it is. And it's carved out this like nice niche
Yep.
for itself that is its own lane.
Yeah, yeah, very accurate.
I don't know. I was thinking I might prefer this with something a little more, like New Worldish, like a Padron, Maduros. I don't know. That's a feel I get, but I think a part of me is feeling that it's slightly overpowering the cigar.
Really
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I feel the opposite.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
think this is a very easy drinking, mild
what-
scotch.
Because
What-
I feel like the color is
Yeah.
light.
It is.
It's not very viscous.
What
I,
gi-
I know I put a little ice in it, but
What Gis said earlier is
son of a bitch. All right, so now I'm
No.
down to only giving out 5 Ramon Allones 898s.
I take it back.
Keep it going.
I take it back. Now, what you said earlier is very accurate. A spirit like this that's on the sweeter side works fantastic with almost every Cuban cigar that you can get your hands on. No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
And I think the savory profile of this, think about how well, and Pagoda, I'm going to throw that back at you. Think about how well this scotch would pair with a D4.
Agreed.
I think with Defoe would be great.
Yeah, but how
I think-
delicious. But wait a minute. Wouldn't it be great with an exclusiva? It would be fantastic.
It would be
with
great
would
with a
be, yeah.
Padron. It would.
I think so.
I don't know. I have a different perspective. I actually think this would pair really great with almost any Cuban cigar, but I'm not as I think it can work with some New Worlds, but it doesn't like a Padron Exclusivo is like full flavor. This
Yeah.
is not a full flavored cigar. And a full flavored cigar, when I have that, like I crave like a Macallan that's a full flavored bold scotch, a Balvenie that's a full flavored bold scotch.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the color of this, it tells you already like this is on the lighter side. I would call this to me a medium bodied scotch.
I agree with you.
And that's why I think it pairs really well with Cubans that are usually medium bodied.
One counter is with a full flavored cigar that has a cleansing effect. What we're drinking tonight, so each draw you get a cleansing effect.
That's
it's a little
fair.
sweet.
Right.
It could
So
be. It
what
could
would
be
you-
enjoyable.
What would you pair a peatier scotch with?
A New World
Yeah.
or a really robust Cuban. which
Like a
there's not
Maduro.
many.
There's not that
Maduro
many.
number
Yes.
one. A Maduro number one with Lagavulin would
That's
be
correct.
quite nice.
That's
I think.
right.
I think.
What about on the New World side?
Any New
almost
World,
any.
basically.
Almost
yeah.
anything?
I would.
Yeah.
I think Nicaraguan.
Nicaraguan
more than,
too.
Yeah,
more than
a
Dominican.
bold,
or,
that's correct.
Yeah, that's true because a Millennium won't do that well against
Like
the
a
peaty
Liga?
Scotch.
Maybe a Liga?
Liga.
Yeah, any
Yeah.
Padron.
Padron.
Yeah.
Padrones. Yeah.
Not
I
a
think an
Davidoff.
80th would be good with that.
A late
Yeah.
hour.
Family Reserve, Padron Family Reserve.
Yeah,
No,
and,
late
and
hour with this?
Oliva.
Late hour would be great.
Late hour.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
not,
Oliva.
not a Millennium though. Late
No,
hour.
late hour.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what I suggest is that when we do the 18 year of this, which I think certainly all of us so far are leaning in that direction, I think we pair it with a New World and see how it does with that.
Sure.
Because I think those extra 6 years might be a little too much for Cuban.
Very curious
Agree.
what that drink's like. Yeah.
So, boys, Habanos has announced the 24th Habanos Festival.
Yay!
So I went to a few of the events last year, namely the gala dinner. We recapped that after we got back, but it was announced for February 26th through March 1st, 2024. And it looks very similar in programming. You know, you get to tour the Habanos factories, some of the Habanos factories, plantations. They do seminars with lectures, different kind of pairing things, contests, 3 very special nights where they announce various new releases. So as an example, the Bolivar Gold Medal was a release that I was at that event in February of this year where they announced that new cigar and released it. And certainly they'll be announcing some more next year. So, and the gala dinner, of course, is where they do that big auction where they sell, you know, the crazy humidors signed by the president of Cuba for millions of dollars. You know, it's pretty wild. I don't know if we're going to be there this year.
No.
It doesn't look like it.
No.
You don't want to bring back the humidor for us, Giz?
Well, I might bid remotely, you know, but
There we go.
You don't want to rub elbows with the other insiders.
I love Bam.
yeah, Bam's over there, by the way. Bam's over there doing like a shuffle.
I'm doing a shimmy over here.
So, you know, it was very expensive last year. They did reduce the prices on the Amigos de Partagas, which we talked about a few episodes ago. But, you know, I'm curious what the pricing will be. It was pretty expensive last time. We did, you know, last year when I went to the gala dinner, that's when they announced the new Partagas releases, which have not been put to market yet. The new Linea Maestra, the 3 sizes, all with that 109 cap on them. And then we got the St. DuPont lighter in the cutter. So it ended up being okay as far as the gifts and whatnot. But yeah, I don't see myself going this year.
There is one special, unique thing during those events. When you're at the Partagas shop and the folks that run that shop, if you get time with them during an event, it's special because they're special people.
Yeah.
They're really great to hang out with. There's a huge group of people outside. It's just overwhelming and you don't get to meet anybody and have a memorable conversation. But with that group, unparalleled. They're just...
So I want to take logistics and travel and all that stuff aside. Let's just say the 5 of us were in Cuba as we've been a couple times, right? Would you guys be interested or not in going to any of the Habanos Festival events?
How much was it?
So the gala dinner, I think, was $1,100. You got the gifts, you got the dinner and all that. You got the gift box of the cigars. You get 4 or 5 cigars throughout the night.
Is there caviar at the dinner?
No caviar.
No caviar.
You got St. DuPont cutter and lighter that matched the Linea Maestra. So they do nice gifts at the gala event at least.
I would do the final gala dinner, the final event.
I think it would be cool to check it out once.
Yeah. The reason is because you're at a table with 8 or 10 people.
Yeah.
And you have really good conversations where all the other events are just overwhelmed with people. It gets too much.
And you get to see Giz dressed up in a suit.
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
Once every 5 years.
You know, when he does, it's dapper.
Exactly.
It's dapper. Gis goes to the extreme.
Would you be interested in going, Senator?
No, I'm out.
You're out.
Really?
I'm out.
Not
I'm
even
out
once?
like Mark Cuban. No way.
Not even once.
Not even once.
Reason?
To me, there's nothing that interesting about it. I mean, I've yet to encounter anybody that's been there that has said that any cigar that they got from it was so incredible that like they want to actually go and buy it when it's released. I haven't heard a single person say that.
Apart from the cigar.
Well, apart from the cigar, I mean, for $1,100, if the cigar is not going to blow me away, then this better be one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. And obviously, that's not going to be the case in Cuba.
It's not going to be the
No,
case.
So,
it won't.
I
And
mean,
the cigar won't blow you away.
If the cigar's not going to blow me away, the food's not going to blow me away, why am I spending $1,100 to sit there and talk with people when I can just go to the Partagas shop and lounge or Malia Cohiba and do the exact same thing and meet people and chat? Like, I don't need to pay into some silly event to meet great people.
Especially when we can spend a week for less than $1,100.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Correct. Exactly.
Do
That's
they
true.
pair the cigars
That's really
with
true.
some rich spirits?
Yeah, so they do every cigar that they hand out, you do get a certain pairing
they had
with it.
Yeah.
Santiago that one.
Yeah, with
That
Santiago
was-
was one, and
I'd rather buy
Havana Club.
$1,100 worth of Santiago 20 than go to that event. And that's going to last me for months, if not a few years.
Weeks for you.
Yeah, let's not overstate it. What about you, Pagoda?
I think I'd be up for it, just to experience it. I don't know what year. I don't know about next year, but maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I've had some listeners email, and I kind of waffle back and forth. I think, as I said on the episode.
Well, you know
said
what?
on the episode you would never do it again.
But you are our representative. You should go. You should go.
You're our representative.
Maybe Bam
Spend
will
the
sponsor you.
$1,100 for us. Just bring us back the
Yeah,
cigars.
just
kids.
report back.
We'll do a GoFundMe setup for you.
I thought Bam's going to sponsor you. You're going to wear a T-shirt saying "Bam Bam" all through the dinner.
Oh yeah,
Lagarto Bam.
sure.
So which one is better out of the two events?
Well, I think, the thing I liked about the Amigos de Partagas, which happens in November each year, just happened a few weeks ago. We're going to do a recap on that. We're going to get some reports back from some friends who went to that. But what I like about the Partagas event is what Bam said, and I think you'll agree with this, Bam. The Partagas Gala dinner, it's smaller, certainly. It's not
Yeah.
a trade show. It's a celebration of people who love Partagas, and they did it at the Tropicana. So
I'm in.
So you sit in
Yeah.
the Tropicana.
Very historic.
The Tropicana,
That'll be my
you have
third time there. I'm in.
The Tropicana dining area is like a big,
Yeah.
what would you call it? Like a conference hall almost?
It's a conference hall. It looks like it's maybe the room itself is about 6,000 square feet. It's tiered. Tables at each tier, the stage, and they auctioned off their extraordinarily expensive humidors.
Yeah.
The whole thing was pretty good.
And what I like about that event is it celebrates exactly what Bam was saying about the people at the Partagas shop,
Mhm.
because it's specific to Partagas. It's a celebration of that marca. It's a
Yeah.
celebration of the people behind Partagas, and they're very, very proud people.
Absolutely.
And it's mainly the people in the Partagas LCDH near the Floridita there. They're the ones that are kind of they're running the show. They're handing the cigars out. They're on the stage talking.
And they're very
It's a big
attentive
celebration.
to every table.
Yeah.
The service is just incredible.
So
And-
that's more my speed.
Yeah.
And what's nice about
Yeah.
that is after the dinner was done, and when they let the dinner out, you go and watch the Tropicana show.
Perfect.
Which
I'm
is the
serious.
best thing
I
in Cuba.
actually want to do this.
Yeah.
Hearing you describe this,
It's very
I'm very
cool.
in for that. But the Habanos Festival, the other thing, I just don't like big commercial events that everybody thinks that they should go to. Those events usually suck. They usually disappoint
Yep.
because they're trying to appease such a broad crowd.
Right.
You end up appeasing nobody. So the Partagas piece, I think it's a lot more narrow, a lot more focused. Obviously, I'm as passionate about Partagas as can be.
Sure.
That's exactly the type of event I would
Right.
go to.
And you see the faces that you want to get over to and have a talk with.
Yeah,
For
because
sure.
all the same people that you're wanting to hang with at the Habanos Festival are often at the Amigos
Shop.
de Partagas.
Yeah, it's awesome.
that same week in
Oh, yeah.
November. Most folks go November and March who are
Yeah.
into that scene.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's
How much is the Partagas one?
I think it was a little less than half of the Habanos dinner. So I think
That's
it was
right.
still
Great.
in the $500,
That's right.
$600
Yep.
range.
That sounds like a great.
Oh,
And you
that's
walk
definitely
out,
double.
You
Yeah.
walk out with 4 or 5 cigars that they give you. You drink the rum, but the Tropicana show, that ticket in and of itself is $100. So
Yeah.
you go there, you smoke your cigars, they give you rum. It's an all inclusive. It's a really long night,
Yeah.
but it's really fun because the Tropicana show is just the best thing
Yep.
And
that I've ever seen.
we still have cigars from that night
Yeah.
that we occasionally smoke. And I walked out with more than 15 cigars from that night.
hmm
It's pretty cool.
All Partagas.
No.
No, a big variety. We actually got Siglo 6s.
Yes.
That was the highlight of that one.
A couple
was
of
they were-
QDs.
Yeah, they were.
There was some RYJ, a D4, a E2.
Yeah, nice gift bag.
Yeah.
So that seems like it's worth it because just with the Tropicana show, and if you're going to walk away with 10 to 15 cigars
Yeah.
and the rum and food,
Yeah.
I'm in.
you
And
get
that's
to-
in November, right?
That's November, yeah. So it just happened a few weeks ago.
Right.
So
Oh, it did. All
yeah,
right.
so it was. I think it was the 3rd week in November. So this episode's going to come out December 5th. So that was
Yeah.
but
last
that's
week.
also multiple nights, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Partagas is a bit of an abbreviated one. It's only Tuesday through Friday, and then Tuesday is like an opening gala at the Parque Central Lounge, which is very, very small,
Mhm.
and they do like a competition and whatnot. It's run by Renee, who runs the Partagas shop.
We love Renee.
I'm so in.
You're so in.
We
You
love
just
Renee.
every word you say about this, I am definitely going.
And then the next day you get on a bus and you go out to the farms. We didn't do that last year. The following day you go out to a like a villa and they have swimming and it's kind of a how would you describe that, Bam, when we did that?
A long napping session.
We were tired.
We were out late.
We were tired. And then the final night is the closing night at the Tropicana, the Friday night. Yeah. So we'll do a recap of that once we get some reports back of this year's
But each
Amigos de
night is
Portugal.
priced separately.
Yes, you don't have to buy the whole thing. You can only go to
Yeah,
one,
right.
2, or all
So
of
it's
the
like
events.
a la
Yeah.
carte.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Habanos Festival too.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to do it all. So, boys, we're about halfway here on the Ramón Allones number 3. I mean, even as we're talking and kind of hitting the cigar, this is really
It's a
an
very good
elegant
cigar.
experience.
Very good cigar.
It is. This is, some cigars, I feel like we kind of evaluate them like 2 halves or thirds, or I think rarely quarters. But for me, this cigar, the first quarter I loved, and that's when it's like started very sweet.
Mhm.
The second quarter, honestly, was a little bit muddled for me. I enjoyed, but I wasn't as excited about. But the third has been awesome.
Yeah.
This is where, like, for me, after the halfway point is where this cigar like really has hit its stride, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Yeah, it hit a plateau, but for me, the notes were consistent.
And none were bad.
No. And now, as Senator said, it has stepped up in body, but it's not strong. It's not bitter at all. No rough edges yet.
Rooster, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I don't think the cigar has changed that much from the beginning till now. I mean, I'm getting the same flavor notes that I was getting in the beginning, but in the middle, yeah, it did kind of be muted a little bit, and it's picked up in strength a little bit in the last. I mean, I'm kind of at the last third, I guess, a little
Yeah.
more than halfway.
Same here.
So, but overall, it's a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think it's picked up in strength. I think for some reason it reminded me of the RAS for a bit. Maybe it's in my mind, and really enjoying it. Yeah.
I can't believe that this was rolled in March.
I know.
I mean,
This is smoking like it's been aged 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah, look at this.
I agree.
Right?
I haven't seen anybody correct it.
I did once, but no ammonia that you usually get in a very young Cuban.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And the combustion's been great. We didn't talk about that. Everybody's
fantastic.
a chimney right now. Combustion's great. Draw is great. The burn is great. And the smell at the burn line's really nice.
It's very nice.
I mean, this is where, like, when the effort is really there, clearly they're capable of
Sure.
delivering some really great product. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that this is the first new release in how long for
Decades.
Ramon? Decades.
2
Yeah.
decades
I
probably.
mean, can you imagine the pressure that anybody would feel putting out a new release for the first time in decades for a marca that's as respected as Ramón Allones? I mean, and it's clearly shown. Like, the
Yeah.
fact that we're all sitting here smoking a young cigar saying there's no rough edges, the flavor is complex, and we're enjoying it. I just wish this same level of care and focus could go into every other marca.
You know, one thing we haven't seen in Cuba is directly interviewing and being with the master blender to see how they're actually blending.
Well,
We
this
haven't-
is what
we
I
haven't
agree.
seen that.
I agree. This is what I said when we came back from Cuba. One of my big takeaways was how underappreciated
Of course.
and undervalued blenders are in
Yeah.
Cuba.
Yeah.
I mean, our experiences, we've been so fortunate to visit all the top factories there. These factories, the story is all about, like, the rollers are the superstars, which
Yeah.
are critically important. I
True.
take nothing away from the rollers.
but
But the fact that we're smoking a young cigar and saying that this doesn't have rough edges, that's a blending decision.
yeah,
Right? That's like perfect blending that no rough edges are showing this early in this cigar's life cycle.
yeah.
We don't even know the
We don't.
names of the blenders. Where
No.
I
And
was
we can't
saying,
even. By the way, we've tried. We haven't gotten to them.
correct.
We
Yeah.
don't meet them.
And
Like
Maybe next trip,
maybe.
because that one individual that blended this particular cigar is sitting in a room somewhere wondering, how did he do?
Right. And that's why I
Right?
was saying the stark contrast is with New Worlds, it's all about the blenders.
We don't know anything about the rollers.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's not a single New World roller that we can even name. Yet we can tell you about all these great master blenders
It's
for
so
all
true.
these big New World brands. Yet in Cuba, they don't get any of the credit or attention.
Yeah.
And they should.
It's the exact opposite,
I,
isn't it?
I think part of the reason might be because Cuba, they don't really come out with a lot of new cigars. So the same blend, like the Ras, has been there forever, right? I mean, they created that blend and they just rolled the cigars.
But I want to know
So-
who created it.
So do
It's
I.
a brilliant blend.
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason they don't want to share it is you're going to bring them back to the U.S.
Senator might do that.
Put them in the suitcase.
Yeah, he says,
I just want the D4 blender. That's the only one I'm taking with me.
Gizmo, we need to sequester your friend. We'll be trying to leave the airport and Senator ain't leaving.
You're like Ocean's 11, like they stuff them in like a suitcase, you know?
I mean, the blender could either be on the farm. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
We
that
don't
is
know.
a very, that is a very closely held secret.
Yeah, it's a mystical process, and I'd love to just explore that.
This is
somehow.
all the more reason. I think Rooster's onto something there that we've got to get out to these farms because I think that's
Yeah.
where we're going to find some of these answers.
And we've yet to do that.
We have to do that. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
It sounds like we need to go back to Cuba. I don't want to press, but
Well, it's going to happen.
Well,
sounds-
Bam's going to India, but the rest of us are going to Cuba.
You know where I'm going? I'm going to, you know where I want to go? I want to go to Goa.
yeah, you're going to love it.
I want to go to
It's
Goa.
awesome.
Look it
That's
up,
awesome.
Yes.
I'll look it up.
Look it up.
It's the Ibiza of India.
He missed that.
Oh, I heard it.
Oh, Garcon, we need a refill over here.
So, guys, I'm very excited to announce, very, very proud to announce that our friend Pagoda has a rover.
Wow.
Finally succumbed.
He succumbed.
He's
I'm gonna
roving.
I'm going to clap for that. 55-inch television on a rover, Google TV, killing it.
Fantastic.
So-
Thank you so much, guys. for
How have
coming
you
over.
been using the rover?
Oh, in so many different places. Firstly, the rover can rove.
He brings it
So-
in the bathroom.
Listen, it's-
Wow.
so we had a poker night one of the nights and moved
Yes,
moved
we did.
the TV right by there. We had poker going on in the background for a bit. I know that was lame, but still, then we put some music on with Carol G,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was headed out to the deck. We moved. It's just probably one of the best things that's ever happened. It's awesome. I've never had a television in my living room because that's where we all congregate and we hang out, and the purpose has always been to just hang out and talk. But I moved the rover there the other day, and me and my boys, we were watching English Premier League. At least for 20 minutes, they sat with me on the couch, and
Oh,
it was
that's cool.
fantastic.
That's awesome.
So
It's a golden
it's
moment.
just it's increased the quality of my life
That's great.
dramatically.
And what was the total cost? Under $400 for everything?
Yeah.
TV, stand, everything.
Now, I must say that I guess you did really push for it. I think everybody did, and then you just ordered it.
I ordered it. I said, I'm coming over. I'm setting it up.
and
I
he
did.
set it up too.
I rolled
There
in with
was,
my toolbox and
You did
Set
that
it
right
up.
before
Yeah.
the poker game.
How
I
much
did.
was the
Yeah.
installation cost?
I think I'll be paying for the rest of my life. Just I'll be paying you for the rest of my life.
Not at all.
For the Zeno
the
episode.
Zeno.
I didn't bring it up.
I'm still scared. No, but it's been fantastic. Thank you, Giz, because I'm saying Giz. Have you realized that the Giz is not over there? It's like, I don't know what's going on over here, but thank you once again.
My
It's been
pleasure, man. I'm just
fantastic.
so glad you have it.
No, it's really, guys, if you're listening to it, and if you're anywhere in a warm weather, pull it out to the deck, watch some TV, watch a game behind, and it's awesome. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Of course.
Roving is a lifestyle.
It is. I don't have one yet.
So
We know.
Yeah,
there
I
is
don't
now
have one yet.
only one lizard without a rover.
So the challenge I have, I don't have a deck. So I have a English pebble side yard. I can't move that thing around. Or just,
Can I just say something? Aren't
on
you like a
wheels.
builder, like an architect?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just
Sorry.
build a deck?
No, no.
yeah, I know,
Time
I
out.
know,
Time
I
out. Time out. The whole purpose of the rover is you don't need a deck for the rover.
That's
The
true.
brilliance of the rover is it goes anywhere. He's roving in his house. I rove in my house.
Over
It
pavers,
goes
it'll go over
anywhere.
pavers.
Of
It's very light,
course.
by the way. You can pick
Of
it up with one
course.
hand.
Yeah.
It goes on anything.
Yeah.
It can go on the grass. You guys have been out on the back lawn with me. We're watching like college football around a fire pit. It can go
I
anywhere.
have been pining for one, honestly, because I miss a TV out there.
Well, look, I know the $50 is really going to kill the wallet, but you just order it on Amazon. I mean, Jesus, man. I mean, just
50
order
bucks?
it. That's all it costs.
No.
By the
It's a-
way,
it's
the
the price of
TV
a cigar.
The TV itself,
yeah.
the new TVs, you got a 55. I think it's an OLED or like a
Yeah, OLED, yeah.
really nice TV.
Nice.
It was like under $300, $400, something
Awesome.
like that. and it's so light.
Mm.
So you could literally, you lock the TV on the stand with safety screws.
Yep.
You can literally pick the whole thing up and carry it with two hands. It's really, really light
Cool.
and easy.
I think
So every listener needs one.
I think my young boys are also so happy with that because now they can go. And I realized they'd moved that somewhere and they got very comfy and they put the YouTube on and they were on it. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Bam,
No,
you can
thank
put
you.
it on top of the Solo.
Yeah, there's no heat. There's no damage.
There's
that's
no
gonna
risk
go.
of
No
damaging the
risk.
TV.
Now, the crazy part of this, Pagoda had a very important observation after the rover was set up at his house.
Yeah, because we all were hanging out the same day.
Okay.
And a lot of the lizards came out that night.
That's right. Bam was there. I was there.
And Giz had come down and set up the whole rover.
And he disappeared.
And he disappeared. Vanished.
I was actually
then-
disappointed.
And then what he realized is, and Pagoda's house is very open for lizards. He's a
we
very
go.
generous host. And Pagoda realized that was the first and only time that Gizmo
He
ever
was
made
there.
it out to his house.
That's true.
And he's never been on the deck hanging out with the rest of the lizards.
And he evaporated the moment he
He's
installed
never even
that.
had a cigar
Accountability
there.
hour.
That is
All right,
a
well,
disgrace.
Where are you?
It's kind of a disgrace.
Where is Giz?
I had some things going on that night. I couldn't
Yeah.
stay, as you know.
Yeah.
Payroll.
I had some family stuff going on.
All right.
I promise I will make it out to the Pagoda compound for a lizard night. I promise.
I think you're going to be Zeno'd the day you do.
I'll bring.
He deserves it.
I bring my own.
He'll bring his own.
I bring my own. I'll bring Ramon's for everyone but Bam.
Ah, that's not nice. Okay, Giz.
Am I really the only one that hasn't been to your house for a night?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's we were talking about it the other night. We were at a bar just hanging out, and we were talking about it and came up, and I said, you know what, I just realized that Giz has never really hung out with us on the deck, and even just hung out.
It's
yeah.
true.
So it's about time, buddy.
All right, I'll make it happen. I promise.
Are you accounting for your? Are you
Oh,
atoning?
I'm fully accounting. I think. Listen, I think I did my part.
You did a
Did
great
I not
job.
do my part,
You did.
Bam?
No, you
I
did
was
not do-
entertained during that poker game. I wasn't even focused on the game.
Yeah, we know that.
I wasn't.
The question is, what was on the TV?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I said the only way to
For-
win is get a bit distracted.
For the record, Pagoda was one of the winners that night.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Hey,
once
the
in a
house.
while.
The house always wins.
That's right.
Well,
the house always wins.
and as we're keeping score of the Pagoda Bam Bam rivalry, in
Is there a
all
rivalry
things,
in all
it
things?
started with chess.
With chess.
Then it went to poker, and all I'm saying is I've only witnessed Pagoda winning in that matchup.
Oh my lord! What's
Bam,
going on? over
Bam
here?
Bam has had his moments. He's had his moments. Speaking of the third party.
I like when you speak in the third person.
I
I like
know.
that.
In Bam Bam's defense, he's an online player.
He is. He is.
I do like online chess. Yeah.
Hey,
It
playing
does.
against 12-year-olds is all the same.
So, boys, I want to share a listener email. I thought this was something that is interesting to talk about because we actually haven't talked about temperature control in towers. And it's something that I'm curious what your perspectives are on it. So, Lizard Josh from California wrote us and he said, "Hey, I'm a huge fan of the podcast and all cigars that are Cuban." So, he'll probably like this cigar tonight. I came across the podcast a couple weeks ago and I've listened through about 60% of the shows. Can you imagine
That's awesome.
listening to 60 something episodes in just a few weeks?
Dedicated.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. I wanted to reach out about the towers you guys have for storing your cigars. I'm interested in the Tower of Power 2
Now you're
as
talking.
well for my personal storage, which, as we've documented, Bam, Pagoda, and Senator have the Tower of Power 2, but the Cigar Oasis at home. His question was, how do the lizards keep the tower cool during the summer months? And should I be concerned about it? So he's in California. So I think the room, as I've kind of dug in a little bit more with him to get some more context for this conversation, he said that where he's at in California, it kind of reaches a peak of, the temperature wise, like maybe 95 or 100, and it
Mhm.
goes down to about 50.
At
But
night.
it is an
Mhm.
indoor storage situation for the
course.
tower. So I'm curious, what do you guys do? And certainly,
Wait a minute. His temperature inside the house reaches 95.
no, outdoors.
outside.
I think
Outdoors.
it doesn't swing that much
So
inside the home.
Inside the house, that's what the temperature is going to be in.
Yeah,
the
it's
tower.
close to. I told him as long as you
Yeah,
keep it.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
an
it's
issue.
a very simple formula.
It really
Yeah.
depends on where in the house it is, because if you have a basement, a lot of homes in California don't have basements. Those that do, here in Jersey as well, when you go below grade, the temperature stabilizes. So you should be hovering like 68 roughly degrees.
Whatever
in-
your house is, that's what it's going to be.
Correct. I was going to say, I mean, air conditioning, right? So like if
Sure.
you're in any climate that gets hot, I would hope folks get air conditioning. And so, I mean, whatever the temperature is that you keep that room at, and
Right.
that's the temperature that the tower is
I
going
mean, I
to
would
sit
keep it away from the direct sunlight.
So do you guys
Yeah,
have air
correct.
conditioning in your cellars?
at. No, I don't. But I'm saying like a California house probably doesn't have a cellar.
That's right,
Which
yeah.
honestly is even better because
Yeah.
if you have a cellar, most
Yeah.
people don't have air conditioning down
Mhm.
there.
Mm,
I
right.
don't in mine, but luckily it gets super cool down there.
It
So
does.
like I usually don't have a problem.
That's right.
But if I had my tower on the first or second floor of my house that has, central AC,
Mhm.
it's even easier for me to
it's
control
not an
for
issue.
temperature. It's
Shouldn't
not
be
even
an
an
issue. Right.
So now there are some lizards out there who don't have a central air situation, and their room swings,
Mm-hmm.
pretty drastically. It follows the temperature outside, or even worse,
Yeah.
if the sun's beating down on a sunroom or something like that where they store their cigars. So then the question comes in twofold of not only a question of mold, which is a factor of temperature and humidity, but
Mhm.
also cigar beetles,
Yeah.
which is something that I've kind of been diving into the last few weeks, just prevention, as because I've been buying a lot of unbanded cigars. So preventing beetles has been a big part of my thing, because once you introduce beetles to your tower and there's an outbreak, your entire collection is
It's at risk.
compromised.
Yeah, it's at risk. Wow.
So that's a big deal. So, as far as the quick answer to this question is, keep your tower as close to room temperature as you can.
Mhm.
And you're going to be okay as long as your humidity is also in control. But, as far as beetles go, and I found this really interesting. I don't know if you guys have thought about beetles or did any research, but I've been doing a lot.
We know you have.
I have,
Well,
of course.
You have a whole freezer
You have the
protocol.
freezer,
there.
exactly what I was
freezer
gonna say.
protocol. I have
That's
a
right.
full freezer protocol. So
Yeah.
check this out.
He's got a cigar freezer.
So check this out. So a cigar beetle egg can survive at 41 degrees
Wow.
Fahrenheit,
Wow.
can survive more than a week. Acclimated larva can survive for almost a month or two at 41 degrees. An adult can live for 2 or 3 months at that temperature. So you really need to, if you're buying cigars that are unbanded. So now let's just preface this. Any cigar you buy from Cuba, now Cuba really is the big, problem area for cigar beetles. And we've been in LCDHs in Havana
Mhm.
after COVID, and you go through boxes in an LCDH. And during COVID, there was no power, there was no air conditioning, there was no control. You're going through boxes and you can see beetle damage.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So if you're purchasing cigars, even in the United States, that don't have bans on them, or if you're purchasing cigars that have come directly from Cuba, which have the MINSAP, which is their health stickers, if they have MINSAP warnings on that box, you have to assume that they were not frozen. Anything you get from overseas or a traditional distributor of Habanos cigars, they've been frozen before they go out to distribution. New World cigars, same thing. But if you're getting cigars that do not have bans on them, you really need to develop a freezer protocol.
Yeah.
Because you're putting your entire collection at risk.
Yeah.
What is a MINSAP label?
MINSAP is the Cuban health department. So kind of like this box we have tonight of this Ramón Allones number 3. So you see the Mexican labels, Cuba has their own version of it, warning against tobacco smoke. And the organization is called MINSAP, MINSAP. So if you see that label on your box,
They're on a lot of boxes.
they're on a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So you have to
Like,
assume
I got a Coronas Claros box from Cuba that had it
I do
on
too.
it, and I had to put it in freezer protocol.
Yeah.
you have to assume that box was not frozen.
Interesting.
So what's really interesting is that, we have to, again, making more assumptions. You have to assume that most lizards out there don't have a deep freezer. My freezer, fortunately, goes down to under 10 degrees. So it's really a deep freeze. If you're putting it in your normal freezer, which probably hovers in the 20s or low 30s, you really need to keep those cigars in there a little bit longer. So you put it. So here's my freezer protocol. I get up cigars. I vacuum seal them. I put them in the refrigerator for a day or two to prevent condensation when they go into the freezer. They go in the freezer for 4 days. I have a deep freezer. If you have a regular freezer, you want to do a week or more. Back into the refrigerator for 2 days.
What is a deep freezer?
So a deep freezer goes down to
It's really deep.
under 50. Like a deep freeze is under.
Mrs. Gizmo is wondering why all the shit is like thawed out. Keeps taking.
I
all
just
the
take them. I
frozen-
take everything out and I just put it aside.
Oh my God.
So yeah, a normal freezer doesn't go as cold, and you can see the data here of various temperatures and how long these beetles survive. It's pretty dramatic if you're not getting a deep freeze on your cigars. So you just got to be cautious if you're buying stuff that has not been taken care of by the distributor before it's been shipped to you, MinSap, unbanded cigars, etc. You really need to protect your collection and freeze your cigars.
It's good information.
These guys always bust my balls about freezer protocol, but I'm very, very serious about it.
No, it's a good point.
And to answer Josh's question, temperature also factors into that too. You get your collection goes up to 80, 90 degrees. The humidity goes along with it. You're really at risk if you have
That's a
stuff
problem.
that's not frozen. Those beetles are going to hatch.
Yeah, it's a problem.
And they're going to rip through your entire collection, and you're totally screwed.
Yeah. If you don't have air conditioning, that's going to be a challenge. Unless you have a basement, like we said, the temperature stabilized, then you can kind of control it.
The good thing for the listener that's hearing this, because when Gizmo went through this whole process, I'm sitting there like, I don't have a vacuum freezer, all this stuff.
A vacuum sealer?
Vacuum sealer, sorry.
Yeah.
Amazon, like
$20.
$20. You get one of these vacuum sealers. You literally it comes, you can just get the like plastic that it needs to seal in. You put the cigars in there. Takes minutes. Could not be easier. It is worth the peace of mind.
That's cool.
So as opposed to putting them in freezer bags, the good thing about vacuum sealing your cigars before you freeze them is if you properly freeze your cigars, they've done some studies on this with tobacco, going back 20, 30 years. If you properly freeze your cigars, there's no effect on taste. And actually cigar sommeliers, cigar somms have done tastings of frozen and fresh stuff, and they've validated that if frozen properly in a protocol like this to prevent beetles, there is no effect on taste. So you're not going to mess up your cigars by protecting your entire collection.
I got to talk to a sommelier.
Giz, you got to work on the pronunciation there.
How do you pronounce that?
Sommeliers.
The R is silent. Sommelier.
Sommelier.
You are a bundle of joy.
I'm really feeling it, Bam. So yeah, that's really, really important. That's something we haven't talked about is, freezing your stuff because I mean, certainly as Habanos pricing has gone up, trying to find stuff that's Cuban tobacco or really good tobacco that's not banded, you really got to protect your collection because you're putting everything at risk. You're saving all that money, but you're putting your entire collection at risk.
Does it make sense to open your boxes and check them periodically?
Yeah, people like to do that. I do that. I do it sometimes. I don't rotate or move stuff around. Some guys like to do that religiously. Mm-hmm. I just kind of go into the back of my tower and check on a box or two and see how things are.
Especially boxes you haven't opened in a while.
Yeah. But I don't do any rotating or moving or anything like that. Some people swear by that, but my air movement in my tower is pretty consistent, so I feel good about it.
Got the Gizmo fan set up.
Oh, yeah.
Very important.
Very.
Air movement is very important.
Key.
So, boys, we're into the last third here of the Ramón Allones number 3.
Yeah.
What's everybody thinking? I'm loving it. Let me just say, I'm loving it. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
It's excellent. I think even the last third, it's getting back to how it was tasting in the beginning for me. I'm really enjoying this. Fantastic.
They're doing something right in Cuba with this, with all the new releases.
Yeah,
they're
and
doing
even the
something
recent.
right.
Even the recent run of cigars going back to maybe 2019, we've talked about this ad nauseum. The quality control, the consistency of the last 4 years or so of cigars. Think about the difference in Monty 2s.
Oh, that's a key.
Yeah.
Dramatic
Yeah.
improvement.
You know, I mean-
2018s are from there forward are excellent.
They're great.
Like going back like pre-pandemic, every time you would buy a new box, and you're like, oh, I got to store it for a couple of years. So I'm not going to touch it. Now it kind of encourages you to light one up as
Try
soon as
one.
you get a box.
Try one, yeah.
Yeah, the rolls are good. I mean, the
Giz, how
draws-
far are you on your cigar? I can't see.
I have about 1.5 inches left.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with it. Not that it's okay at this point. It's kind of dissipated for me at this point. I'm like 1.25 inches.
Are you tasting youth, or has it just
A
kind of
little
fallen
bit of
off?
youth and a
Youth,
tiny
yeah.
bit of ammonia, honestly.
Really?
Just a little bit. Just
I'm
a
not
little.
surprised.
I mean,
either that
7
or
months
it's like
old.
nicotine built up.
yeah.
Yeah,
that
It
be.
could be.
It
I
does
am
feel a bit stronger.
Yeah, I'm smoking it a little fast. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think it's picked up a lot in strength.
It has.
It has.
in the final like inch.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can get a little ammonia, not a ton.
No.
I mean, there are cigars that honestly I've had with even more age on this than this cigar we're having right now, that at this stage you actually get more ammonia than you're
It's
getting
true.
here. So I think for its youth, it's actually still performing well, but it really picks up in
It
the
has.
final
It
inch.
really does.
Yeah, no, I think it did pick up in strength, but for me, it became again a bit sweeter. It was
Wow, that's
Interesting.
unusual.
I have the opposite
Me too.
feeling of that.
Me
For
too.
me, the sweetness is completely gone.
Yeah.
And it's just savory and just
deep. It's very deep.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really only got sweet notes in the beginning. Maybe.
too.
yeah, no, that's what I
Yeah.
was saying.
I'm
It's
getting
back to
some
the
now,
beginning
though.
for me.
Are you?
I'm getting some now.
Yeah, it's kind of evaporated for me, but I think this is a testament to what this could be if you let it sit for a year.
Yeah,
And I think what we're
Yeah.
talking about is exactly what we didn't talk about with the Rafael Gonzalez Coronas de Lonsdales, which is, I think what you're talking about is an expectation that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, that's going to dissipate, and this cigar is really going to skyrocket
100% agree.
in flavor.
I
you
think
know?
this will age beautifully.
I think so.
You should get us more boxes.
and the smoke output.
Do you want me
has
to
been
freeze them or
fantastic.
no?
Yes.
Sorry, Pagoda.
No, the smoke output has been fantastic.
The whole
Yeah.
way through.
Pretty good.
all the way
combustion.
through.
Yeah.
Great combustion.
And I'm finding the pairing. So we did a second pour. I'm finding the pairing to really be nice with this. I think this is a
It's
perfect
So
scotch
enjoyable.
for a Cuban cigar. I think
yeah.
it's really been nice with it. You know, we'll see in the ratings, but I'm curious how that's going to end up versus some of the other stuff. So I want to do a couple quick housekeeping things. Number one is we're coming up on the end of the year here, obviously. So any listeners out there, any lizards who have some stuff that they loved from the last year for the best of 2023 that we release at the end of the year, if you have any clips, any things you really laughed at or enjoyed or found informative or hated, any kind of feedback you want to give us, send us an email and give us some clips that we can feature in the best of 2023
Yeah.
episode.
Just let us know how many hours of the Bam Bam Accountability Hour you want us to include.
Sure.
It's between 4 and 6 at least.
just keep out the oxygen oxidizers.
Oh, that's going to be in there. That's going to be in there. You know that's going to be in there.
I was trying to be scientific.
The problem is you said it and we missed it, but Pagoda didn't.
No, he didn't. Damn you, Pagoda.
So the other item I have too for listeners out there, this is really, really important.
Some homework.
We need cigar ideas for
Yeah.
2024 in both Cuban stuff we haven't done, any varietals that we, anything that you want us to cover, and also in New World cigars, stuff you're smoking and like.
Please.
We need suggestions because sometimes we're planning out the next couple of months of smokes, stuff to get, and we're like on the group chat trying to figure out what to order or what not. So any listener input is
Yeah.
really, really
It's a
helpful.
tremendous help.
Yeah, even pairings, I guess.
Yeah.
And
That's-
pairings
that
too.
as well.
Yeah.
You know,
course.
Senator mentioned earlier, we're kind of
We're there.
running out of single malt scotch ideas. So any listeners out there that have some stuff that we haven't covered,
We're going to be doing Bob's Backyard Scotch next week. Come on, listeners. We need your help.
We keep talking about trips to Cuba. I think we need a trip to Scotland.
there you go.
Oh, now you're
That's
talking.
right.
Right?
Now you're talking.
We take the cigars from Cuba and then we go straight to Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
I
the
like the
summer
way you're
after.
thinking there, Pagoda.
Yeah,
I like
March
that.
and June.
I like it.
Like
So
it.
yeah, so we really need we need ideas for the best of 2023 and cigar and pairing ideas for 2024. Obviously, we're starting to dive in now to mixed drinks, so we're going to do a little bit more of that.
We need more cocktails.
As we get into the early part of next year. But any kind of ideas you guys have, we read all the email. We appreciate it. So please send them along.
Will you call them cocktails, please?
Mixed drinks doesn't work.
We're not going to review a rum and Coke.
We're not in the 70s.
No Cuba Libre? No Cuba Libre?
All right, boys, are you guys ready to get into the ratings section of our episode tonight?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the. Oh God, how do I pronounce this?
By the way, that was quick. Where's the time
Yeah,
gone?
go for it,
Yeah.
Giz.
Ask the sommelier.
Bam, Bam, you are so out, man. You are so out.
I love that.
You are so out.
He doesn't like the 898s.
That's true.
So
That's true. He didn't like that.
That is that's a shank.
No, but
Walsh.
remember, that night he did enjoy the Rasmo.
He did.
Right,
He
he
didn't
did.
like the
Yeah.
898.
The Ras.
Harding is 898. You didn't like
I
that.
have 2 boxes. I love that cigar.
I don't know. I think
Well, you can
there's some
smoke a Ras,
witnesses
and we'll
here.
smoke the 898. And you let us
Okay.
know what you think.
All right.
I'll get you an aged one, 2022.
Okay.
All right. So you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Bunnahabhain?
Yeah.
12-year age, single malt scotch?
Bunnahabhain.
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 I'll figure it out before I record the intro. to the episode.
Bunnahabhain.
All right, Bam Bam, you're up.
Yeah, I've been going between a 9 and a 10 on this. It's pretty well priced. It's delicious. I'm going to give it a 10 because this I can drink. I can put this in regular rotation very easily. I would buy this and have this in my locker and go to it every few days. It's enjoyable. There's a really nice sweet note there. It works great with, like we said, almost any Cuban cigar. It's a 10.
Awesome.
Well priced.
Pagoda.
Wow. It's a 9 for me. I felt I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
Take that last sip. Just Senator's taking a sip.
I should take a sip.
There's something there. It's really.
I think you'll have to edit
It's
this out.
really quite enjoyable.
It is very enjoyable, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, but I did feel a little bit of sharpness in the somewhere in between. When I was taking a slightly bigger gulp, I felt a little coming into my chest.
Take a smaller gulp.
I think that's true.
Listen to your gulp advisor, Bam
regulate
Bam.
gulp advisor.
Regulate yourself.
All right, it's a 9 for me.
I'm not
Yeah, it's a
tainting
9 for me.
anyone's.
Senator.
I have to start by saying I am amazed by the scores.
Me too.
I've
Me too.
never, ever imagined.
Can I just
This
say, when
would
I
get
saw
this.
this
Dude.
earlier today, I was like, this might be in the 6s.
Yeah, I did too. I assumed it was going to be awful.
I
Yeah,
totally did.
I owe a big thank you to my friend. I
Yeah.
would have never tried or picked this up with that. To your point, I mean, there's no way you walk in a liquor store and you see that and you're like, yep, that's going to be a great scotch.
What's his
You
first name?
never know. Sorry, Ross.
Lizard Ross did a good job here.
He
He
did.
did a great
I'm
job.
sorry, he
He
did.
We need more pairings from Lizard Ross.
Yes, we do.
You know,
do.
but here I'm thinking like,
And I have more pairings from him.
Oh,
There's
good.
2 more bottles that he poured for me that night that none of us have tried that
So,
we're going to procure.
That's what I love about this. He's going after things that he's never had before. That's an exploration that we have to follow right behind.
I love that.
For sure.
Honestly, yeah.
I just wonder where even I'm thinking about, because I go to the same liquor store all the time, right? I can't remember ever seeing this. Like, is it stuffed on the bottom shelf? Like, are they not getting prime retail placement? Like, this is a scotch that people should be celebrating.
So when I bought that, there were only 2 of those. I'm not sure if they were bought before, but not
Just
much inventory.
People can't pronounce it. How
That's
are they gonna
true.
look for
I
it?
can't
Yeah.
pronounce it.
I thought it was Bobenheim.
So, Senator, what's your rating?
So I've been going back and forth between an 8 and a 9. I would definitely drink this again. I'm very, very happy with it. And I think I'm going to round up and I'm actually going to give it a 9. And I think the biggest factor for me, it is so hard at this point how many different scotches we've tried to find something that's unique and different in a meaningful way, right? Not like this one, they aged it in a Madeira cask and, all of a sudden it's this limited release bullshit that they charge a ridiculous premium for that is marginally better than whatever the standard production stuff they make. This is their standard production line. This is their 12-year, and it is unlike any other 12-year single malt we've ever had. So I'll definitely round up to a 9. I would drink this again. I'm very happy with it. And I think, like the cigar that we described as complex, the thing I appreciate about it is a lot of scotches that we actually appreciate a lot are not complex, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like there are some scotches, like you look at Aberlour 12, like that's just a sherry bomb. We love sherry, so it
Yeah.
scores well, but I would never describe Aberlour 12 as complex.
No, but it's delicious.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there are just so many scotches that fit that category for me that feed the notes that we crave, but aren't that complex. And this brings two very different worlds together somehow in a very harmonious way. And I love the versatility of this, that I would drink this in the afternoon.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I would drink this in the
Yes.
evening. I would drink this in the summer. I would
Abs-
drink this in the winter.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge merit. So I'm at a solid
that
9.
versatility is really, it's a huge merit for this spirit.
So Senator stole my thunder because I'm also at a 9. I've been at a 9 since the first sip.
Yeah.
I think it is a brilliant Scotch pairing, especially for Cuban cigars. And what I love about it is I actually really appreciate the viscosity of it. I like that it's a little thinner than some of the other sherry, scotches that we drink on the pod.
There's a
And we drink when we're in the
quality.
lounge.
There's a cleansing quality to this.
Absolutely. And I think it does the right amount with a cigar that's in that medium flavor profile like tonight was, even arguably mild. If we were to, look at some of the mild cigars that we've smoked on the pod. And I think to Pagoda's point, I think it might do well with a fuller cigar. So I
Yeah.
really think versatility is the action word tonight. I think
Mhm.
this cigar is, I think the Scotch is incredibly versatile. And I think it's a 9 all day. If this was a $45 or $40 bottle of
It'd
Scotch,
be a 10.
it would be a 10 for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I think it's 65. I think I have to factor that in.
I'm willing to pay that for this.
Yeah, I am
because I
too.
can drink this at any time.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
but I think that at that price point, I'm going to reach for a
Okay.
Balvenie, probably
Mhm.
in most situations. But at 65, I think for what we got tonight, it's absolutely a 9 all day. And that brings the former liquor rating boys to a 9.3.
Wow. That's a great score for this.
Amazing.
That is
And very fair.
33 points above what I thought it was going to get
Very fair.
when we opened it
Yeah.
tonight.
And you go, just to piggyback on what you said, you'd go for the Balvenie above this because you're used to that brand.
Yes.
This is the first time we're having this.
Yeah.
If this was introduced among the group and we're having it more and more, I think I could easily see this being part of our rotation.
And I
No,
think,
yeah.
and
I do think it
too,
will be. Meaning
Yeah.
you're talking about 9.3. For me, it would have been 10 if I wouldn't have experienced a couple of those really harsh things in my chest. But over
We were both going to say it. Those big
Control
gulps.
your gulp.
you got to listen to your gulp advisor.
I'll tell you.
I'll send you my invoice tomorrow.
At the end of the day, I was debating between a 9 and 10 from the very beginning, and
You can't change.
I think 9. Yeah, it's 9. It's a 9. It's a strong 9.
To me, even before I looked at the price and we talked about that, it was a 9 from the start.
Yeah.
It just perfectly sat in that score for me
Mhm.
because I just think it's really going to work with almost
Yeah.
any cigar we smoke. Maybe aside from some of those like Nicaraguas that we smoke that are kind of pepper bombs, or
Yeah.
you need a little bit more of a pairing. I think this was right for this.
Lizard Ross, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, boys, let's do the formal lizard rating on the Ramón Allones. Allones number 3. Rooster, you're up.
Yeah. So it's really impressive how good these fresh cigars, the newly released cigars have been. I mean, we have had 3 in a row.
Yeah.
3 that we have done recently,
Mhm.
and they've all been great. So this cigar, you can tell it has a Ramón Allones DNA. Even if the cigar you smoked this without the band, I think you could tell this is a Ramón,
I'm with you there.
right? So it has that dried fruit, that earthiness, that leather notes that do come through. I think it will do wonders with some age on it, though.
I agree with that.
Even a year or two, it's gonna be great. So right now at this stage and priced around
$31.50. Yeah,
$31.50. It's a little pricey, but that's what Cuban cigars are right now, and for that reason, it's an 8 for me right now.
Okay.
Senator.
So I'm in lockstep with Rooster. I think for how this performs right now, it's a solid 8. I would smoke this again. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It has complexity. It picks up. It's not a one-act play. I think the way the first half smoked, where it started out sweet, then it built up a little bit, and then the second half, I feel like just really takes off in a really enjoyable way. But I think, like Rooster said, you see the potential that this has to be not just a good or even very good, arguably great cigar, but like I think truly this could be a spectacular cigar with age. And so I'm excited to see how this develops with time.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it can hit a 9 or even a 10 maybe. But for right now, solid 8. I'd smoke it again, and I think anybody should go out and try it.
So for me, it's a 9. And so I'm factoring in everything you're saying. What I like about it, even if there was a little bit of youth in that last, as you were saying, quarter instead of third, that last quarter, I'm factoring that in because I know where this is going to go, and it's just going to continue to get better and better and better. And I thought from the start, this was right in my palate was singing the whole all night tonight. It was perfect.
Yeah.
For me, especially for a cigar that was rolled in March.
Yep.
Like I was really, really into it. And I have to say, and we'll go through some of the other ratings, the one cigar we have not done from Ramon yet is the Gigantes, the double Corona. I had one of those a couple days ago. It's 4 years aged now.
And?
This wipes the floor with that cigar.
Really?
Wipes the floor with that cigar to the
Wow.
point that I'm not even comfortable bringing the rest of them that I have in to the podcast to review.
Interesting.
Because it just was not great.
Wow.
This cigar wiped the floor with it. 7 months aged. I'm shocked. It's a 9 for me all day. I'm really impressed. And at $31 for the hour and 40 minutes or whatever it gave us tonight, hour and a half, I am really, really happy with it.
Yeah.
A 9 all day.
Yeah.
Pagoda.
It's a 9 for me. Straight up, it began with a very pleasant taste. It made me smile. I did get a little bit of that, tea kind of flavor, which always brings about pleasant memories, and a bit of the sweetness. And for me, I did not get any of the ammonia in the end. In fact, it went back to the beginning where I found a little bit of the sweetness again. And I really enjoyed it from the beginning to the end. The size is great. The combustion was fantastic. This was a very, very good smoke output for a Cuban. I really enjoyed it. It's a 9 for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bam.
I'm thinking about the cost of this cigar and the experience that I had tonight. It's like you said, Rooster, it's hard to factor price in because every Cuban cigar market has gone up in price. So you're going to pay a lot of money for it, whatever Cuban you want now. This was unique because how old is this cigar?
7 months.
The gradual increase in body, which was very subtle as you went through the cigar, to me is an indicator of a pretty complex cigar. And I think it'll age beautifully. I'm at a 9.
All right.
9 all day with this one.
So, boys, the formal Lizard rating on the Ramon Allones, Allones number 3, is an 8.6.
Home run. Home run.
Can you believe it?
For a 6-month-old cigar.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's
definitely
incredible.
recommend.
It's incredible.
So let's go through some of the other cigars we talked about tonight. We'll start with the other Ramon Allones cigars. The Ramon Allones Specially Selected we did on episode 9, 100 episodes ago, was a 9.0.
Yeah, well, that's
The
a classic.
Superioris that we did on episode 54, very, very weak, 5.7. The Small Club Corona we did an episode later on episode 55 on a short smoke special was a 9.0. And the number 2, the EL, Edición Limitada from 2019, was a flat 10.0.
Yeah, that was an incredible unicorn cigar it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this cigar has that potential.
It does.
Yeah.
Smoke this
That's
in
the
a
thing.
year.
If there's one thing I think that we have very clearly discovered with Ramon Allones, it ages incredibly well.
Mhm.
And I say that because that Ramon Allones number 2, that 2019 Limitada, when I first got those, they sucked. I'm not even going to mince my words. They sucked. I bought not 1, but 2 boxes of them. Puba was the first to get a box, and then I followed suit and stupidly, well, at the time I felt stupid for doing it, but doubled down and got even 2. And I just tucked it away in the back, and I said, if they still suck after a year or 2 later, I guess I'll move them. But transformed, I mean, unrecognizable. I almost wish that I had like a young one for you to try, and then that with just a couple years of age on it, you would never recognize it. And so just having that experience with Ramon Allones, we know the RAS ages incredibly well too.
It does.
The potential for this cigar, truly, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need a lot of age.
No.
I mean, just a couple of years.
But
Yeah.
the 50 cabs of the RAS that we've gotten over the years, they're smoking better and better. And these standard production cigars, that Club Corona, That's a dessert cigar after a dinner. If you have a limited amount of time, it is quite the experience. That's a little home run cigar, which is incredible. It's incredible.
And what I love about all the cigars we're talking about, you talk about the Small Club Corona is probably a $15 cigar.
Yeah.
The Ras is probably mid-20s.
Mhm.
Obviously, the EL from 2019 is a really expensive cigar, maybe $50, $60, $70. Tonight, a $31 cigar. Everything we're talking about, it runs the gamut price-wise inside the same kind of DNA, as you mentioned, Rooster, of Ramón Allones. Like, it kind of covers all the bases. Like, you can hit the
Yep.
limited amount of time. You can go for the standard Robusto. You want to do a special night with the EL if you can find a box of those.
Yeah.
Or you have this new release, the Robusto Extra for $31. I mean, Ramón is like doing great. Just avoid the Superiores. So the other ones I wanted to review really quickly because we talked about them a lot tonight. The new cigars that came out from Habanos that we did on the podcast, La Gloria Cubana Turquinos, we did on episode 84 was an 8.8. And the Rafael Gonzalez Coronas de Lonsdale, we did 4 episodes ago on episode 105, was a flat 8.0.
And these are young cigars.
Young cigars.
Very young cigars performing incredibly.
So, you know,
Habanos is doing something really, really
That's
smart
right.
now.
yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They're blenders. They're
Yeah.
masters.
Yeah, Cuba Tobacco's doing
Oh,
the
yeah.
right thing there.
Oh, yeah.
So the only one from that list that edged it out was the Turquinos by, 0.2 of a point, 88 on
Yeah.
episode 84. Tonight 8.6. The other one that we mentioned that we should just kind of reference is the Edmundo, which is the closest cigar
Mhm.
in regular production to this size. We did that on episode 80. Got a flat 8.0.
Okay. Honestly, the Turquinos edging this one out tonight makes a lot of sense. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, boys, a great night tonight. What a fantastic pairing. The Bunnahabhain,
Jesus.
the
Bunaki Ben.
God
Sommelier.
Bunahab Ben.
the Bunnahabhain.
Yes. Bunnahabhain.
The Bunnahabhain got a 9.3, and our cigar tonight, the Ramón Allones number 3, got an 8.6. Can you believe it? Let me tell you, both of those are a major, major surprise for me.
Yeah.
All right, boys, great night, great conversation, and we'll see y'all next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.